University of Lagos, the nation's pride, continues its legacy of excellence with the graduation of almost 6,000 graduates and award of degrees and honors to deserving citizens in its 54th Convocation ceremony, while Madonna University in Rivers State celebrating its 25th anniversary last year with over 2,000 graduates at its 22nd Convocation ceremony. That's our focus and special report this week. As the Convocation lecture begins, titled Decolonizing African Higher Education for Transformational Development, top officials of the university make their entry with grace and poise. The J.F. Ade Ajayi Auditorium is the venue attended by staff, retired officials and alumni of the university, and dignitaries including former Governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke. Vice-Chancellor Professor Folashade Ogushola walks to the lectern for her welcome address.
At the University of Lagos, we recognize that our role is to develop minds so that people can be the best version of themselves with the capacity to develop their nation and be fit for purpose for the fourth industrial revolution. It was Socrates who said, "We are what we think we are." But Buddha said it even better. He said, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world." This is also validated by science. In quantum physics, it recognizes that our thoughts are the source of our reality and that everything we see and experience arises from thought energy. That we are all connected and our collective consciousness is an energy field which responds to our thoughts and emotions by creating reality. In academia, we develop thinkers. And if Nigeria is to reach its full potential, we as a nation must start thinking right. Who do we think we are? What do we say we are? It is our belief in who we think that we are that will determine the choices that we make. And the choices that we make will guide our actions. And the collective actions will be what Nigeria will be. The narrative presently about Nigeria is all about its negatives. Unfortunately, this negative is prevalent even amongst Nigerians. Why do we see only what is wrong with us? Even our policies and processes are so focused on what is wrong that we make life difficult for ourselves. Why do we have this narrative? What is wrong with our mindset? As part of our contribution towards promoting discussions that would enable a paradigm shift in the way we think, it is important that we examine our tertiary education system in Africa, because it is where we shape minds for national development. Africa has lagged behind in development in the Committee of Nations. Our current educational system, modeled on colonial constructs, has not been able to drive the all-round development and revolutionary ideas and industries that we need, despite our population heterogeneity and other positive demographic factors. Facts have also shown that our deficit in these critical areas isn't due to a lack of intelligence or intellect or human capacity. What we know is that we constantly seek validation from our colonial past. There is clearly still a lack of confidence in who we are. It does not appear that being African is enough. How do we become enough? There is already a change in the air. We are beginning to ask the relevant questions, and we're beginning to recognize that if we are to fully develop and be unique and not copycats, we must embrace who we are so that we can make the right choices on what parts of other cultures we will adopt. We must rediscover our purpose, trace our heritage, reorientate our minds, and develop new policies that embrace our peculiarities and unique flavor.
former Pro-Chancellor of Madonna University, Ile-Ife, and the chairman of the event, Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi, starts with a historical account.
The first modern scholarly proponent of authentic African history was Professor Kenneth Dike, whose publications, notably his magnum opus, Trade and Politics in the Niger Delta, 1830 to 1855, were a watershed in African historiography. Dike's pioneering efforts did a lot in helping to refine the very essence of our being. It led, among other things, to the emergence of the works of other Nigerian historians who forged for the first time a genuinely Nigerian identity through their publications of the glories of pre-colonial Nigerian and African history. Collectively, the efforts of these historians, among them the great Professor Adi Ajayi, the former Vice Chancellor here, and after whom this auditorium is named, Professor Saboyi Biobaku, Professor Adele Afigu, Professor E.A. Anyodele, Professor Tekina Tamuna, and of course, my own former warden at Kuti Hall, the recently deceased Professor Obaro Ikime. The works of these historians led to the founding of what came to be known as the Ibadan School of History. Through their efforts to decolonize the knowledge of our history, the history department at Ibadan became an embodiment of decolonization. But as Professor Falola may adduce to in his lecture, decolonization for Fanon is the fundamental dismantling of the entire colonial process of thinking, of doing, and of existing. Since economic disparities and the destruction of cultures were formidable legacies of colonialism, they must be confronted through decolonization in ways that frame the very essence of our existence. Fanon's principal theory of decolonization was that pre-colonial countries should forge their paths to development rather than attempting to follow already developed countries. Interestingly, Fanon's decolonization theory provides valuable insight into the psychological and political effects of the oppression and humanization synonymous with colonization. Fanon's works and theories inspired a whole range of other scholars on decolonization, particularly our own Ngugi wa Thiong'o, whose influential and groundbreaking collection of essays entitled Decolonizing the Mind, the Politics of Language in African Literature, explores the cultural and linguistic legacies of colonization. Ngugi argues that decolonization is about rejecting the assumption that the modern West is the central root of Africa's consciousness and cultural heritage. Almost as if echoing the pioneering works of Professor Kenneth Dike and the rest, Ngugi calls on Africans to engage in a collective effort to liberate Africa from historical misrepresentations. Like Fanon, Ngugi insists that decolonization is about cultural, psychological, and economic freedom with the goal of achieving indigenous sovereignty. Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have restated these well-known theories of decolonization, partly to emphasize the importance and the appropriateness of today's topic, decolonizing African higher education for transformational development. There can be no question at all that the future of our continent is tied inextricably to the transformation of higher education, particularly at such a time as this in human history. We didn't need Nelson Mandela to remind us that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world.
University of Texas at Austin.
The lecture is delivered by Professor Toyin Falola, a Nigerian historian and professor of African Studies, who prompts a revival of conversations about research and teaching concerning Africa as well as African studies.
This topic I've pursued very relentlessly I did a 700-page book on decolonizing African studies, where discipline by discipline, department by department, analyze what they've been doing and how they can carry it forward. And then I began to say that we should not just say that this topic is important, we should demonstrate it. And I began to demonstrate it in the following ways. That why don't we look at our own cumulative resources? They are not Western, they just belong to us. Like IFA, for instance, it belongs to us. So many ideas. And many of you may not know, I think you know, Ofo, incantation. You know Gede, the conch incantation. And I took them together and I said, these are sources. I wrote a book on spirituality and knowledge systems. And then in an eccentric moment, I said, each of you, including me, is an archive. Your story is unique to you, is an archive. Your story is not a Western story. Your story is not an Asian story. Your story is your story. And you said, what do you mean? I said, you are an archive. You embody a set of knowledge that only you know the story. And it's only you who can make sense of the story. So I took my own stories and I wrote a book, Autoethnography and Knowledge, which University of Cambridge Press published. It's all about me, my clothes, my cities, my collections, and it won the Amory Talbot Award, the best book in anthropology, and it's just about me. In which case, you yourself is an agent of this topic, in which you are writing yourself into a landscape, into a geography, and nobody else can do that. When the chair came, I said, where's your memoir? Because when he was writing the memoir, we exchanged some email addresses. And then the email came out, and as soon as he was coming from the car, I said, where's my copy of the memoir? That memoir is about himself, a story that is personal to him, and that's part of what decolonization, that's part of what it does. Do not confuse limited resources with human capacity. If you are doing chemistry, the fact that your lab is inadequate does not mean that something is wrong with your brain. Something is not wrong with your brain. Nothing is wrong with the brain. And related to that first, is that when people now go elsewhere, I cannot tell you the number of universities have been external examiners to, so many. Nigerian students, Malaysia. They flourish so well that people are now saying that Nigeria is one of the most talented young men and women in the world.
Recipients make their way for the University of Lagos Conferment of Degrees, Awards and Honors.
Vice Chancellor.
One such recipient is Mr. Fola Adeola.
My fellow honorees and I set out to be net providers and contributors, not dependents or drain to our families and society. And by God's grace, our contributions led to an exponential impact on our community and our country, Nigeria. This is compound interest. Tasks and actions that accumulate and multiply over time until they become something bigger than oneself. The average ordinary citizen today faces enormous pressures: hunger, inflation, unemployment, poor healthcare provision. Poverty is practically chasing you and is right behind you. I can stand before you today because I know what poverty feels like, whether you believe it or not. As you graduate and step into the world of work, think about your choices and your actions. What steps can you take today that will create a compound interest effect in your life? I offer you 3 keys that, when implemented or used consistently, will keep you on the path to success. The first is invest in human capital. The second is learn to live on 90%. And the third is work hard in humility.
The Department of Creative Arts presents a gift to the guest lecturer. The same obtains for the chairman of the event, as the portraits, like 2 peas in a pod. The 22nd Convocation ceremony of Madonna University, River State, unfolded with a vibrant and celebratory atmosphere. The day began with the commissioning of a newly constructed 88-unit furnished staff quarters named after the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Administration, Professor Martins Anagwoso, a testament to the university's commitment to enhancing staff welfare.
I feel elated and deeply honored by the gesture of the BOT, the Governing Council, and the founder of the university to name this building after me.
Very, very fantastic. In fact, the joy has no bound. And not only, every staff of this institution are beneficial to this 88 bedroom flat that is contained from block 1 to block 2.
In a similar way, when supper was ended, he took the chalice and, giving you thanks, he said a blessing. He gave the chalice to his disciples, saying, "Take this, all of you, and drink from it."
Following this, the university observed its tradition of a Thanksgiving Mass with the presiding priest, charging the graduates to uphold the virtues of decency and academic excellence.
We have gathered here to celebrate our brothers and sisters. Some of them did not find it easy. If for no other thing, to wake up every Monday, maybe before 5 o'clock, you will come out for jogging. On Sunday, before 4 o'clock, they wake you up. I told some people yesterday that I don't know when last they attended Sunday masses because they are no longer in Madonna. But the joy there is that Madonna will shape your life. And it concedes you that moral dignity.
Graduates from 11 faculties and postgraduate studies adorned in colorful convocation gowns fill the campus as they prepare to reap the rewards of their academic diligence. The Chancellor and Founder, Very Reverend Father Emmanuel Ede, officially declares the convocation ceremony open. His address, alongside that of the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Uchenna Anyanwu, highlights the university's dedication to producing globally competent graduates.
Madonna University is unique in the following ways. A, high morals and discipline. Madonna University is known for its high morals and discipline. Thus, the motto is decency in academics and morals. This is why any student who fails to meet the required 85% attendance to lectures for any course will not be allowed to sit for the examination. Also, lecturers who fail to cover 100% of their course outlines are sanctioned. B. International membership. Membership of the International Federation of Catholic Universities, Paris, as the first registered Catholic university in West Africa, we have continually maintained a high position in IFECU. During the General Assembly held in August 2022 in Boston College, Massachusetts, and the just concluded IFECU Leadership Conference in September 2023, held in Rome, Madonna University was specially recognized for their outstanding performance. After all assessments of member institutions, we came top at a 92.8%.
Madonna University is the first Catholic university in Nigeria and the first Catholic university in the West African sub-region. The university took off to a great start in 1999 and has made some quantum leaps to occupy a pride of place in the Committee of Universities. Apart from having international linkages with over 14 foreign universities, the university is proudly the only university in Africa that is a member of the International Federation of Catholic Universities, IFCU.
The conferment of degrees was met with jubilation as the graduates were recognized for their hard work. The audience erupted in cheers as a roll call of first-class honors was made. Amongst the highlights was Ms. Onyebuchi Ogechukwu, a first-class graduate and beneficiary of the Founders Scholarship. She emerged as the best graduating student with a stellar CGPA.
No regrets. We spent countless of hours learning, engaged in intelligent entertainment, and exercising within the walls of this great institution. The late night study sections to victorious moments of ecstasy are quite memorable, each day with its unique unveilings. It's a promise we will live out the good formation. We will carry with us all that we have learned here, the knowledge, the skills, and the moral Christian virtues. Certainly, that will help us make positive impacts in our society and as well to navigate through difficulties with confidence.
Her achievements earned her a cash gift, a job offer as graduate assistant lecturer, and scholarships for master's and doctorate programs. Additionally, the institution's alumni awarded her a cash gift, while two other outstanding students received cash gifts as well.
I am greatly humbled and honored to be recognized as the best graduating student of this great institution. It's my pleasure. I am so happy. Words can't express how I feel. And I really return all glory to God. So I must say that the first is determination and you knowing what you want. From the very first day I entered Madonna, I knew what I wanted and I tried my best to work towards it. And I had a lot of people to encourage me. I had my uncle, my parents, the priest in school. I had a lot of things to encourage me. And I knew what I wanted and I had zeal. So I worked and I struggled. By the grace of God, I'm here today.
The pillars of success, some trained in the Nigerian universities we just covered, may have started as a seed, but with deserving honors given. It's an unending salute to their contributions to the country, and for the fresh graduates, a vote of confidence as they brave a new world of challenges that can turn to opportunities, and opportunities that can turn to success. For Special Report, I'm Olumide Macaulay. Thank you for watching.